Hey everyone, welcome back. And in this video, let's talk about another design pattern, that is factory pattern. Okay, so factory pattern is a part of creational design pattern again. So in the previous video, we have seen one creational pattern, that was singleton. And in this video, let's talk about factory pattern. Okay, so let us write down factory. Now, what comes to your mind when I say the word factory? So basically, a factory is something that produces something, correct? Similarly, in this particular example, or I can say in this particular pattern, we create a factory to create objects. But hey Piyush, why can't we make objects ourselves? Like why do we need to even set up a factory to just create objects? Okay, let me tell you. This factory is not an ordinary factory. This is basically a smart factory which makes an object and returns you the relevant object. Okay, let's say let's take an example, okay, because things gets more clear when you understand them by example. So I'll go to my code, okay, and let's create one more file here. So we have a main.java file. So just go to src, right click, new java class, I would say, and let's name this class as factory pattern. Okay, so now this is my factory pattern, and here we are going to see what is factory design pattern. Okay, let's take an example that you run a company which is a transportation company. Okay, and you provide transportation via road, via air, and via sea. So like you have multiple vehicles, you have trucks, you have cars, you have ships, and you have airplanes. Now what we want to do is basically I want to create a service for you which lets you transport your product, correct? Like I want to create a class which can basically tell you, or basically which can track that how you are going to deliver that particular product. Okay, so what you will do, you will basically now there is one problem that I want to make this object dynamically. Like if the, let's say if the load is less than 100 kgs, I want to use truck. If the load is, let's say, more than 100 but less than, let's say, 1000, I want to use airplane. And if the load is more than 1000, I want to use ship. Now how will you do this? Now the first option is just have multiple if else and just populate your main code, right? But using the factory pattern, you can actually make it really easy. Okay, so what you can do, you can make an interface. Okay, let's make an interface, and I will name it as vehicle. Okay, now each vehicle, let's first design the interface. I will say that each vehicle will have a string name. Okay, not public, only the string name. Why are we getting an error here? Yeah, we need to initialize it. Okay, so let's make a string name, and let's say that each vehicle will have a type. Okay, now what is type? Like basically, is it a boat or is it something? Let's remove the name here. Let's remove the name. So each vehicle will have a type. Okay, and each vehicle will have a method known as void deliver. Okay, deliver, and this method will be responsible for delivering the products. Okay, now see what I will do. I will say class. Okay, let's have three vehicles. So I will say one is truck, which truck, okay, which implements vehicle, because truck is a vehicle. Okay, and let's implement the methods. So I will say implement methods. Okay, so I have overridden the deliver method, and I will say sout deliver products via, and then I will append the name. So I will say this dot not this, let's have that public string type as well. So I will say, and this type needs to be initialized via constructor. So let's make a constructor as well. So I'll say string type, and I will say that this dot type equals to type. Okay, so this is done. Now what I will say, that deliver function will say deliver this product via, and then this dot type. What am I doing? This dot type. Yeah, let's close this tab. Okay, so this is done. So we have a truck, and similarly we can have a ship. Okay, we can have a ship. So a ship will again implement vehicle. Okay, which is perfectly fine. And then this should have the same interface. So let's just copy the code. Okay, let's just copy the code. Instead of truck, we need to make it ship. This dot type is okay, and rest everything is perfectly fine. And similarly what we can have is we can have a airplane. So I can say class airplane. Okay, airplane. Now what airplane will have, I will say implements vehicle, because airplane is also a vehicle. Let's copy this thing. Okay, copy, and I would say paste. And what I can do, instead of ship, I need to say it airplane, because it's an airplane class, and then this just deliver method. Okay, now see what I can do. First thing is that you can, like, the problem is that which object to use when. Now see what I can do. I will say class. Okay, I'll make a class name as vehicle factory. Okay, so this is a factory for my vehicles. Okay, here what I will do, I'll make a static method, public static, which returns a vehicle, and I will say get vehicle. Okay, perfectly fine. And in this I will say that how much load you want to carry. Now see what I will do. I will say that if the load, okay, if the load is less than 100, let's say, so I want to have a truck. Okay, else if the load is greater than 100 and the load is less than, let's say, 400, I want to use the airplane. Okay, and else if like no condition is matching, then I can use ship. Okay, so what I will do in the factory method, I will first create a variable of type vehicle. I will say object, which is equals to null. Okay, now see what I'm going to do. You want to use a truck, so I'll say object equals to new truck. Okay, and I will say that this is a truck. Okay, here I will say that if you want to use an airplane, just set object equals to new airplane and tell it airplane. Okay, and then if you want to use a ship, just say object equals to new ship, and I will say that this is a ship, and then just return the object, and you are done. Now see what happened. If I go to my main method, like for example this is my main method, I can say that hey public static void main, and then I can have string args. Okay, now see what I will do. I will say, let's say I have a scanner class. Okay, let's have a scanner class as well. So I'll say scanner equals to new scanner, and let's just put in system.in. I will ask the user that how much load he wants to have. So I'll say scanner.next int. Now what I will do, I'll say that vehicle, okay, which vehicle to use equals to, I will say that vehicle factory, okay, vehicle factory dot get vehicle and pass in your load. Now what you can do, just call vehicle dot deliver method. Now see what will happen. If I run this particular code, so I will say run factory dot main. So now this code is asking me what is your load. Let's say I want to deliver a package of 90 kgs. Now if I click enter, deliver products via truck. Okay, which is perfectly fine. If I run this again, let's say we have a package of 300 kgs. So deliver the products via airplane. Okay, let's run this again. Let's say I want to, send a car maybe of 2000 kgs. So it says, oh, deliver products via ship. So see how simple it was to, just have the factory decide which which object to use. So I just called vehicle factory that, hey factory, go ahead and give me the vehicle which I want to use, and I will just call the deliver method. Now this particular factory will decide which object to use. Correct. So basically factory is responsible for, creating the object, and based on some condition, it returns the relevant object to you. So in singleton, what we did, we basically made a pattern where user can only and only create one object of a class. In factory, what we do, we basically create a factory which decides which object to return. So basically factory creates objects for us. So that's all for this video. I hope you have understood the factory, like why do we use factory pattern, and I hope that you find this factory pattern really useful. So that's all for this video, and let's meet you in the next video. Until then, bye bye, take care.